This video is intended to describe a stationary travel size salt lamp mainframe based off of light tech derivative concepts of technological application. And to join me today shall be my whimsical stick figure chakra map, to which will assist me in various chakra stimulation Q based on the crystalline configuration through this little dissertation. So the aspect that's quite important to highlight before we go any further is the concept of the crystalline apparatus built around the Himalayan salt lamp night lamp right here is quite contingent for its intended purpose. So the aspect of the Himalayan salt lamp, of course, is quite in vogue for its beneficial properties, enhancing a space already. So naturally, the big idea there is to take the entirety of the purification emanation wavelength coming off of the salt lamp to essentially charge the crystalline configuration to a peak efficient wavelength, standing wave. Then most importantly, take that energy configuration of purification and amplification and harmonization, quite the complex thing to put it coherently and concisely, ground it into this alligator clip right here off the primary wire of the construct, going through this unnecessary long cord, most importantly, grounding into the outlet right here to take the excess purified energy and ground it through the outlet, of course, works to ground the energy of the structure into a closed-loop containment field of electrical engineering, such as all these outlets seen in any given space, pass energy throughout the entire space. And the aspect why it's critical too is that if the building is up to code, whether it be a healing center, a house, a residence, office situation, what have you, if the building is up to modern electrical engineering code, somewhere on the premises with all these outlets is a copper rod driven into the earth. By conjoining all of the outlets together to provide a common ground to mitigate the disruptions of electrical malfunctions in a sequence or a circuit. So the aspect of why that's important, it takes a long time, of course, to properly illustrate the narrative, is that the energy of this whole wavelength is grounded through the entire space, generating a tangible containment field, which is developed to promote EASE, which is a very clever acronym for Energetic Augmentation Spatial Enhancement, for that intended purpose, quite simply. So that's a bit of a long-winded, of course, preliminary, which I will circle back to once I discuss the crystalline composition. So this apparatus is the culmination of many of these constructs in wide distribution doing exactly this by the time this video is filmed across the world. So this is basically a more simplistic, straightforward, lighter duty version of this concept in a very lightweight physically as well as lightweight energetically, so it has a very nice even distribution of full spectrum energy by design, so it could serve more of a universal template of a very, very generic, applicable space enhancer for wherever it finds it. Starting off with the primary power pack seen right here is a combination of the 7 ray stimulants, starting off with clear quartz to work as a neutral accelerant of the energy, going into red jasper to be the most stabilizing earth frequency alignment for the root chakra, going into clear quartz to neutrally accelerate the energy into carnelian, a fantastic sacrum stimulant that stimulates the solar plexus and the root, clear quartz into tiger's eye, which is a fantastic solar plexus stimulant, sacrum and root alignment frequency engagement, clear quartz into moss green agate, the most stable green ray water elemental heart chakra stimulant mineral kingdom, clear quartz into blue lace agate, which is another very stabilizing water elemental 5th chakra stimulant, clear quartz into lapis lazuli, a very classic blue ray crystal of air antiquity magical utilization for the 5th and 6th chakra stimulation, clear quartz into amethyst to be a fantastic 6th, 7th, 8th non-physical chakra stimulant back to one's godhead. So the aspect, of course, why that's relevant there is that the entire 7 rays are covered in this entire spectrum. Then going into clear quartz into hematite, clear quartz into hematite, clear quartz into hematite, because the hematite is quite integral for the aspect of being a high iron concentration mineral that takes the excess radius of the 7 rays stimulation at peak efficiency and further grounds the excess energy through the root chakra into the earth for reprocessing to quite simply make the magic real and tangibilize the full spectrum stimulation. And the aspect of the hematite right there, of course, is very well represented in this lateral band down here, that is of the transmutation ratio. So the transmutation ratio is a heavy concentration of smoky quartz and hematite, which have a similar energetic stimuli, to firmly both of them ground all excess energy through the root chakra into the earth for reprocessing at a very quick rate, which is why it's deemed the transmutation ratio. With that much high frequency transmuting of negativity by etheric dialysis with the earth, it's very discouraging for stagnant negative energies to maintain in the field, as well as it makes for a very common ground for the rest of the energy mentioned so far to provide a very strong grounded pathway to tangibilize the excess energy and to ground it into reality to make it real. And so the aspect of the transmutation ratio at the very bottom part of this lateral pyramidal mainframe right here is quite contingent for, of course, actually purifying and clearing a space, much like a joke I utilize, kind of like a Ghostbuster etheric vacuum, that is very, very discouraging for negative energy to maintain in the field. But most importantly, while it's being consistently purified, as consistent as an incandescent bulb heating the salt lamp, then grounding it into the space to ensure the excess energy has a safe ground into the earth through the entire spatial enhancement. So the aspect also above that would be another lateral band of the rose quartz and clear quartz offset like so, because the aspect of having a heavy concentration of love is very, very prominent and very beneficial for any given space. So with the high heart pink ray stimulation of high heart activation with clear quartz to neutrally accelerate that frequency in a circuit is very advantageous, promoting very powerful loving vibrations through the entire space as well. And that also goes back to the aspect of addressing the 5 elements being well documented and structured and engineered in this construct, with the aspects of earth, fire, water, and air naturally addressed in the 7-ray stimulation. Having the 5th element of love, ether, being right here is very, very advantageous for a heavy concentration of everything in moderation except for love by engineering concept. And back to circle back to the core of the primary power pack, would be that of Sedona oak that's been sanded into shape next to selenite, which I'll discuss right now. So the aspect of this entire silica radius or crystal energy built around this apparatus is quite contingent for effectivity based on the wood incorporation, which is, of course, oak is quite the famous wood of legend, which I will omit to do my best to consolidate this video to relevance. But the aspect of oak being the transistor or carbon-based alignment template to our carbon-based physical avatars, at least for now, is another way to ensure the resonance of making the magic vibrationally compatible with the human avatar is inviolable, of course, incorporated into the structure of the engineering. So the aspect, of course, with the oak, it also is very strengthening to the entire auric field because it's a relatively strong atomical weave, strong wood, carbon-based structure. Then next to that would be the selenite, which is quite the integral component as well. So the aspect of selenite is very, very advantageous for clearing debris between the one's conscious self and any chakric impediments between the higher chakras of the crown and all above back to one's godhead to clear debris between one's higher guidance and one's conscious self, which is already tremendously advantageous by design for a space. Then the aspect of the high-frequency induction of divine alignment also provides powerful transmutation, purification of burning through stagnant energies, not of the one's divine intentional resonance. So that it makes it quite more remarkable by itself as a true master healer frequency to have in a space. But where it truly shines in this given dissertation, for example, is the aspect of selenite working with other crystals in a closed-loop sequence. It works to harmonize, purify, and amplify the entire crystalline wavelength to make it a truly effective spiritual that is very appropriate for being very promoting of positive vibrations in a space by clearing densities of not of high divine resonance, quite simply. Then above that would be shungite. Shungite is quite in vogue for being a black ray carbon-based charcoal filter of negativity into positivity, much like the transmutation ratio, and quite famous for, of course, contending with the 5G and harmful wavelengths we endure as a modern species with cell phones abusing to film this, for example, and harmful wavelengths from cell phone towers, satellites, you name it. Shungite's become quite in vogue for that. So the aspect of why that's relevant here, even a small dose grounded to a closed loop circuit goes a very long way to make a very powerful spatial enhancement of mitigation of electromagnetic interference by design there. Now the back side over here would be quite the important crystal as well of golden healer quartz. Golden healer quartz, a gold ray crystal, is quite the fantastic high heart direct divine attunement frequency of the source frequency of creation, or the ohm, if you would. So having a little dose of that grounded into the closed loop circuit also goes a tremendously long way to ensure that this frequency generator is that a bit of homage of a Holy Grail alignment template, which of course is through direct divine attunement resonance of the Holy Grail. Quite simply, to put it kind of pragmatically, is a little whimsical joke in the concept. Then right here at the blade face of this entire construct, last but not least, is quite the contingent centerpiece, that of black kyanite. So kyanite on the black spectrum is the most rapid grounder of energy in the mineral kingdom through the root chakra into the earth as absolutely quick as possible. So it works like a surge protector as well as a tremendous enhancement of grounding this energy into tangibility, and also works very quickly to remove the buffer points of basically stagnations in the field that would not be grounding to the earth properly by the speed of quantum light, quantum bridging of grounding the excess energy of black kyanite into the earth reprocessing at literally the speed of quantum light. So that would basically be the entire crystalline composition in a nutshell, as concise and consolidated as possible. And to reiterate the concept too, now this has been discussed, of course, it's developed to be quite the purifying, love enhancement, full spectrum generator with many other features to support it. But most importantly, at this 11 and a half minutes roughly, is the aspect of the salt lamp working with the incandescent bulb primarily to actually generate the heat, to heat up the salt, to actually purify the crystalline pitch, to ground it into the space is the most important thing that's worth circling back to. Because, of course, that purified emanation is now coursing through all of the outlets going into the copperette into the earth to, once again, generate a tangible containment field through the space by design, and promote the concept of ease for a space of energetic augmentation, spatial enhancement. Well, 1,000 blessings, and may the force be with us all.